Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Den Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker. I have a special guest with me here today. Who I'm here with?
Jasper Jewell.
Well, introduce yourself, Mr. Jewell.
Well, I'm Jasper Jewell, 27-year educator. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm currently the Director of Athletics for the Atlanta Public School System.
Atlanta Public School System. So, your school system is a great school system. Y'all have from Mays to South Atlanta, all that. So, with all the plethora of region championships and all that, what do you look for most to during the school year?
Well, honestly, region championships and state championships are always gratifying, particularly as a district athletic director. But, when kids have an opportunity to go to the next level, when they have a chance to matriculate past high school, whether that's collegiately, whether that's the armed forces, or for that matter, the workforce, the life lessons that are learned through athletics, it takes you so far in terms of team building, camaraderie, partnerships, just how to work together for one common goal. And that's what I love to see at the end of the day, that these individual student athletes graduate and become productive citizens in life. To me, that's what it's all about.
So athletes just reaching the next level and not being stagnant in life.
Absolutely. To me, that's a win-win. When I was coaching football many years ago, a couple of my student athletes said, "Coach, the life lessons that you taught me," they went on and became policemen. Two of them now are captain of Atlanta Police Department. So I'm so proud of them because that's the track that they chose, but they stuck with it. And they say a lot of the hard work and the dedication and the teamwork and the camaraderie that I taught them and my assistant coaches taught them is what propelled them to, pursue that career. So I'm so happy about that. For me, it's not all about going directly to college and things of that nature. It's whatever is your best fit. And your best fit may be a technical school, a trade, or it may just be the workforce, maybe the armed forces. Just as long as you're productive citizens and good husband and wives, mothers and fathers to children. That's what it's all about.
Respect. So now, from what I've heard is you're a Gator fan. So please explain to me, how did you become a Gator fan in Atlanta, Georgia?
Well, it's kind of a long story. But when I was a young kid, I had an opportunity to go down to a Florida Gator camp. And this was many moons ago. I think Charlie Pell was the head coach at the time. It was before Galen Hall was the head coach, who, of course, Steve Spurrier followed Galen Hall. And I just fell in love with the campus and with the university. And of course, once Steve Spurrier became head coach, he was the innovator of the no-huddle, high-powered offense. And I've always loved offensive schemes, offensive minds, and things of that nature. And just to see him do what he did in a span of 12 years in the SEC, 6 SEC championships, a national championship, and just to see how those players played, the likes of the Fred Taylors and the Kevin Carters and the Danny Werfels and individuals like that, Ike Hilliard, Riedel Anthony, Jaquez Green, the list can go on. And I just fell in love with the university and fell in love with the football team and what they stand for. And we've had some rocky roads here of late, but I think, with our new hire, I feel real good about Billy Napier. Billy Napier is going to stabilize the program. He has to get in and he really has to do some good recruiting. But I think all roads lead us back to the SEC championship, eventually a national championship, hopefully under Billy Napier.
I'm glad you said eventually. It won't be no time soon.
I mean,
it won't be no time soon.
If that's what your mouth says, I understand.
Nah, you're going to see on the field. It's going to take a little while.
It's going to take some time. Rome wasn't built in a day. It took Georgia, 40 years to get back there? So I'm sure you understand that.
Yeah, it's called patience.
Patience is a virtue. I understand.
But y'all don't have that down in Gainesville.
Yeah, we do. Believe it or not, first of all, Florida is such a talent-rich state. You know, the University of Florida has to compete every year with the Florida States and the Miamis of the world. Now you have the Central Floridas, the FAUs, the Florida Internationals, things of that nature. Whereas, realistically speaking, who is Georgia recruiting against up here? The Engineers over there in the flats. That's it. That's it. So they're blessed and fortunate to be in a state where the next heavy hitter is Georgia Tech. And let's be honest with you, I had a kid that played for me that went to Georgia Tech and ended up going pro. But let's think about this. The academic rigor to get into Tech is not as easy as it is in a lot of our other Power 5 schools. Let's just say that. So, I mean, you know, Kirby Smart does a good job. Dale McGee is a very good friend of mine, recruiting coordinator up there, very good friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years, and Kirby has his thing rolling right now. But all I got to say is he better keep the train rolling, because if it jumps off the track, look out for those boys in Gainesville, baby.
They not worried at all. Not worried. Y'all haven't beat us since how long?
We beat you the year before last. You remember that?
Okay.
You remember that? Kyle Pitts.
The fluke season. Don't matter.
Oh.
Fluke season. Y'all did nothing with that with all that talent on the field. Y'all didn't make the playoff. What happened?
We did. I mean, you got to think about it. We had a coach who had only been there he was only his second year in existence in the program. Those were really not all his recruits. And let's be honest with you, I love Dan Mullen. I've had an opportunity to clinic with Dan Mullen. I've had a one-on-one with Dan Mullen. I picked him up from the airport when he spoke with the Minority Coaches Association conference. Great guy, but I'm not sure if he's a Florida guy. So, I mean, you know, we made chicken salad out of chicken, you know what? Let's just say that. But guess what? Billy Napier is a top-notch guy. He's a great, great recruiter. He comes from good roots. He's off the Nick Saban tree, so that means a lot when you come off that Saban tree, as did Kirby Smart. He came off the Saban tree. Let's not forget that. The
Saban tree the branches are very long.
Absolutely. The branches are extremely long. So I feel real good about, honestly, I feel real good about our chances to come back to prominence. Now, don't get me wrong. Georgia has done a tremendous job. They've built up their facilities up there. Last year, the defense was a once in a generation defense. That's not a once a year, once every 5 years. That's once every generation. As talent rich as they were, look how many individuals they had drafted only in the first round, not only in the NFL all around, but just in the first round. So, I mean, you know, it was theirs to win last year. It really was. You know, but I'm looking forward to this year. Are we ready to challenge them for the SEC championship? No, not yet. We still have to get stronger internally. We have a lot of pieces to really feel internally in terms of our offensive, defensive line. But I'm really excited about AR-15, Anthony Richardson. Very excited about him. Tremendous, freakish athlete, 6'6", 250 pounds, can throw the ball, can run. I feel real good about him. I feel really, real good about the future of Florida Gator football.
I'm happy that you feel that way. I'm happy that you, the Florida fan, feel that way. I'm happy for you. Well, now with all these years watching the Gators, who are your favorite Gators to ever come across that field?
Oh, now, come on now. We have to start and stop with Emmitt Smith first and foremost. I mean, he's a legend in his own right. Just a class act, was a class professional, very good football player. One of the best, arguably one of the best running backs to ever play the game. Danny Werfel, you have to give Danny Werfel his just due. And honestly, Tim Tebow, you know, he revolutionized Wildcat football, honestly, you know, when he really did. But I mean, there's several. I can go down the list. I can talk about the Chris Leaks of the world, the Kevin Carters, the Ike Hilliers, the Riedel Anthony's, modern day, the Kadarius Toney. I had an opportunity to meet Kyle Pitts when I spoke at a Falcons function at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of his rookie season. Class act guy, model citizen, someone that I would love to see really make Atlanta his home in terms of being in the organization, being a role model in the community. Great young man, great young man. He just speaks well. He handles himself like a professional. He really does. That's what I love about anytime you can see, you know, our African-American men get out here and speak fluently and to be able to hold conversations with anybody in the room. That, to me, that's half the battle. You know, because your athletic ability, it would take you as far as it'll take you, but to be able to have something up here and to be able to speak about it, that's mind-boggling. So I love that.
Okay. So now you're on a Sports Dan podcast. What other podcasts you love listening to?
Oh God, I've been on so many. I've been on Chris Parker's Sportscast podcast. I'm not a big podcast guy because I look at a lot of shows on TV, you know, like the Jalen and what is Jalen Rose's?
Oh yeah, Jalen. I think Jalen Jacoby.
And you know, I definitely look at Stephen A. almost every day. You know, individuals like that. But you know, I do know and understand that podcasts are now the up and coming wave. It's a good way to get your message out there. It's a good message to give a positive spin and a positive message on sports, on anything for that matter. But for me, because I'm an athletic director, you know, sports has been a part of my life for so long, and it continues to be a part of my life. You know, even I've just turned 50 years old, but I just think back about when I first started playing sports. I was 6 years old. So I've played or been around sports 44 of my 50 years on this earth and in existence on this earth. And I just thank God for the opportunity that it has given me, because, you know, I have coaches that have been role models to me. I have coaches now. It's crazy. One of my high school head football coach, he actually works for me now. He's retired and he's a part-time athletic monitor, and he works for me. And I have a problem giving him directives because I'm like, this man practically helped raise me. So now I'm his boss, and I just shake my head every time I think about it. But I thank him so much for the life lessons that he gave me and the values that he instilled in me. And it's made me be a better man, a better husband, and a better father.
Yeah, okay. I respect it. Just telling him, yeah, I need you to go put these chairs out. But it's a little...
Yeah, you know, I just don't, he'll come up to me, he'll say, what you need me to do? And I'm saying to myself, come on, Coach Talton. You were my coach. How can I tell you from the time I was 15 to I was 17, 14 to I was 17 years old? So how can I tell you what to do or how to do things? But he's a great guy, great guy. Family man, family oriented. I graduated from high school with his daughter. We still keep in contact periodically. And he's just a really good Christian loving man. And I can't ask for any better role models and positive people to be around.
That's right. Representation matters. Representation matters.
It does.
It matters. All right. So now, when you're having a slow day or anything like that, who or what do you look for inspiration to get you through that day?
Well, you know, honestly, you know, you work to make a better situation for yourself, make a better situation for your family. Oftentimes are not when I'm in the office. You know, the things that get me through the day is the fact that I get to come home and spend time with my lovely wife, my daughter. My daughter's 12. Her name is Sydney. She's going to the 7th grade. And my wife and I, we actually grew up in the same church. And we kind of parted ways when we went to college. And she flagged me down at one of my fraternity parties. And it just, you know, it was just, she was heaven sent, realistically speaking, you know, because she's she's my queen, and she's a super mom and a great partner. So a lot of times when I'm down, I just think about getting home to my family that afternoon or that evening, spending some time with them. Or a lot of times I like to hang out with a lot of my fraternity brothers. All of them are in education or educators or have coached. So we have so many commonalities. You know, we talk athletics, whether it's via text, email, on and off pretty much all day long. All day long. Athletics is the focal point. So which is, you know, that generally gets me through a day. But quite frankly, there aren't any slow days in my field and in my job. You know, it's something different every day, which makes it so gratifying and so challenging. But it's so gratifying because I'm never walking into the office into the same situation ever.
Something new every day. Keep your mind
every day.
Keep your mind going. Okay, so now talk to me about your role where the position that you're at now to where you were from the start to now.
Okay, so when I started out and I graduated from college, I started out teaching at Browns Mill Elementary School, teaching physical education. And what's crazy, the HR director at the time, his name was Richard Wark. He said, Jasper, we're not going to leave you here because you need to be coaching. So I stayed there 1 year and he immediately transferred me to Chapel Hill Middle School. So I started coaching middle school football. And that was the year that Southwestern Cab won the state championship in 1995 with Quincy Carter, Cozy Coleman, and Melvin Rich, and Amon Richard, and all those guys. So the offensive line coach actually taught at Chapel Hill. And he said he ended up getting the Towers High School head football job. So he said, I want to bring you along with me and coach the defensive and offensive line. I said, okay. So I got my start there. And from there, we moved on to Stone Mountain. And when I got to Stone Mountain, I was assistant head coach. And I moved on from there to being the head coach at Stone Mountain. Took Stone Mountain to the playoffs, my second year as a head coach. And then I was blessed and fortunate to open up Miller Grove High School as the athletic director and the head football coach. Spent 5.5 years there. And from there, it's funny how God works and how things work. It was shortly after my birthday, and I came home and I told my wife, I said, there's some athletic jobs posted online for Atlanta Public Schools. And I'm an APS product. So I was like, you think I ought to apply? She's like, why not? So I was blessed and fortunate. I applied, and 3 interviews later, I became the assistant director of athletics in 2010. And my director retired in 2014. And I've been the director of athletics since 2014 in Atlanta Public Schools. 56,000 students, about 10,000 student athletes, supervised over 650 coaches, 13 high school ADs, about 14 middle school ADs. But it's a wonderful job. It's very gratifying, very, very gratifying.
Wouldn't trade it for a world.
Wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And like I said, this is I did 15 years in DeKalb as a teacher, head football coach, athletic director, and I just completed my 12th year over here in Atlanta Public Schools as assistant director. So it's been a great ride. It really has. Met some great, amazing people, great kids that just, they want to make something of themselves. And that's what I love.
Love that. I love that. So now, how do you balance your hectic work life with your family at home?
Well, because I was a former athlete and a former coach, I was blessed that when my wife and I dated, I was still coaching. So she knows that athletics is in my blood. She knows that it has been in my blood and it's been a part of me. She would be at my games and things of that nature. So when I come home, it's always a life balance. But there are times when I'm able to sneak away to the man cave and look at some football and things of that nature. And I still able to balance that family time with what is needed from my wife and my daughter. So it's worked out it's worked out great. Even to the point there are times my wife will sit down and watch a game with me. So, that's good. And a lot of my wife's friends, their husband, etc., are big avid sports fans. So they'll come over to the house and we'll do the man thing while the ladies will be inside doing the female thing. So it works out great for us. It really does.
All right. So you were an athlete back in the day.
I was.
So now, if you're an athlete in this current age with NIL, what would be your top 5 deals?
Ooh, Jesus. Ooh, don't get me started on NIL. I have mixed views about NIL. I think it's good because athletes are now being blessed. I think it's a blessing and a curse. I think there are some athletes, some kids that come from environments and backgrounds to where they don't get anything and they don't have anything. But I think from the curse side of it, you can almost give a kid too much. There's a progression in life that we all go through. We go from childhood to adolescence, adolescent to teen, teen to young adult to adult. If I'm exposing a kid, a 17, 18-year-old kid, to $3 and $4 million and Bentleys to drive and other things like that, what does he or she have to look forward to once they become an adult? Once they matriculated and graduated from college and start to support a family and themselves, what is the end game? Because it's going to have to be something that's immeasurable or that can measure up to that. So what can I tell? If I'm a position coach, give you a classic example. Let's say I'm a position coach and I'm getting ready for position meeting on the college level. We got position meeting at 5. And my starting cornerback pulls up in a Bentley. He jumps out of a Bentley. He's coming inside. What can I tell him, realistically speaking? We're dealing with the minds of 17 to 21, 22-year-olds. What can I tell him? How can he be coached? And now also kids want to be on the field so that they can get these NIL deals and endorsements. They don't want to be red-shirted. They don't want to come to school to get a degree and let your football ability pay for the degree and be patient and move forward and grow and matriculate. They want to be on the field. They want to be paid. They want success. And the next stop for them is the NFL. So I don't know if it's really allowing a kid to be a kid anymore. So it's kind of hard for me to say, what would my 5 deals be? I mean, I've always been a huge Nike fan, but you got to think about it. That's not really part of NIL because these kids at these major colleges already are in Nike, Under Armour, whatever the case may be. So that's a good question. I really don't know. It probably would be some sort of car. I'm thinking, I would get with some car dealership or some car brand. I don't know. But I cringe every time I think about those NIL dudes. I really do.
Yeah. So NIL is a blessing and a curse. Well,
it is.
I believe I'm 100% behind that in my defense because I see it every day. It's like kids nowadays, you giving an 18-year-old $3 million. You give them that $3 million, then they'll be like, oh, I made it, and then it's like nobody in the corner to help them throughout to maybe say that $3 million. They might just splurge it, then they leave college broke if they don't make it to the league. Exactly,
and that's my fear. I mean, there's a reason why God has aligned our steps and ordered our steps for us to do things in a natural progression, to be from a child to a toddler to a young adult, adolescent, whatever the case may be, because there are stages in life that you go through. And as you go through those stages, there are certain triumphs and things that you go through to learn those. So I'm going to pray about it. I think at some point the NCAA will have to step in and regulate this. It's in some kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. Just don't know how they will do it, but I'm thinking at some point that this will take place.
Okay, so now we're gonna get into a game of this or that. So I say one item or the other, and you choose between the two. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Would you rather have a cookout on 4th of July or Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving food.
Cookout.
All right. Brisket or ribs?
Ooh, because I make a mean both. But I'm gonna roll the dice. Say brisket.
Okay. Pound cake or red velvet?
Red velvet.
All right. Baked beans with meat or baked mac and cheese?
Baked beans.
All right. Temptations or Jackson 5?
Temptations.
The Isley Brothers or Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Ooh. I go with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
All right. Now you're at the cookout jamming. Would you rather hear Before I Let You Go or September?
Before I Let You Go at the cookout jamming.
Computer Love or Candy?
Candy.
It Takes Two or Return of the Mac?
It Takes Two. Raw bass, DJ Kids and Rock, baby.
Can You Stand the Rain or Mr. Telephone Man?
Neither, but I'll take Mr. Telephone Man.
Not a big fan of New Edition?
Not a huge fan of him, no.
All right. Now, would you rather have your spade partner to be one of your line brothers or your wife?
My wife.
Just like that? She'll win.
That's my right and left hand. So yeah, yes, my wife.
All right. Would you rather wet the toothbrush? Do you wet the toothbrush before or after you apply toothpaste?
After.
All right. To take a nap in, would you rather take a nap in the rocking chair or would you rather take a nap on the sofa?
Rocking chair.
Would you rather have a car or rather have a truck?
Truck.
Are you an early bird or are you a night owl?
Early bird.
Would you rather live in the city or rather live in the country?
Suburbs don't count.
Suburbs count. Suburbs count.
Is that a part of the country?
Suburbs really in the mixture of both. It's just right in the middle. That's why
it kind of is in the middle. But if I had to pick city life or country life, city life. I'm from Atlanta, so city life for me.
Okay. Would you rather own 3 Chick-fil-A's or would you rather own 3 Longhorns?
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
Well, you think Chick-fil-A to generate more revenue?
I think it's a franchise that is forever, boom, forever. You got to think about it. Chick-fil-A had its highest profit ratings in the height of COVID-19 because they were smart enough to come with the drive-through, the walk-up service, and they didn't miss a beat. And they experienced their highest growth in sales during the height of COVID-19. It's a great organization. It really is. I mean, think about it. I've been to Chick-fil-A tens of thousands of times, probably, and I've maybe had bad customer service twice. They pride themselves on good customer service, and for the most part, every time the food is always on point.
So what's your Chick-fil-A order?
I'm a nugget guy. I love nuggets, so I'm gonna get nuggets, fries, and a Diet Coke, or I may get the chicken wrap. I don't really get Chick-fil-A sandwich. That's my daughter's favorite. She loves Chick-fil-A sauce. Chick-fil-A sauce. So yeah, but that's my daughter's favorite. But I'm huge on the nuggets and I love their wraps.
Okay, chicken nuggets or the wrap. Okay, so now for the cookout, what's on your plate?
If I had to just fix it how I want,
It's
gonna be a little bit of ribs. If I got some brisket, it's on there. I love chicken. I've always been a chicken guy. Some baked beans. If you got macaroni salad, I eat macaroni salad or I eat potato salad. Boom, done, over with. Give me something to drink. Maybe sip on me a good cold beer or drink me some good tequila. I'm good to go.
Okay. So now after you ate and you need yourself something sweet, like we all say after we eat. So
but you know what? I'm not a big sweets person. I mean, I like cookies and cake. I love red velvet. That's my favorite. But I don't have to necessarily have sweets. I know a lot of people like sweets, but if I did, it'd probably be a cookie, a chocolate chip cookie.
Okay. So now back to your life and back to your profession. So what are some principles in life and in the work do you live by?
Well, the first thing I always live by, and I remember, my college coach telling me this. He said, hard work and dedication always pays off. And at the time, I'm a young kid. I'm like, man, what the hell is you talking about? What do you mean? But what I love to see is the hard work of everybody in my office, or if I work hard on a project and then I can sit back and I can see the fruits of that labor, to me, that's gratifying. And I look at that and I apply that through a lot of my athletic teams. Case in point, North Atlanta won the state this year in girls tennis and in cross country. But they worked hard and they trained. They played in arguably one of the toughest regions 2 years ago in all of the state of Georgia, with North Fulton teams, with Cherokee teams, who generally are good because they call those country club sports. So those kids up there in those areas have been playing sports or had personal trainers or had personal training since they were 5, 6 years old. But North Atlanta just stayed the course and kept working hard. And I saw the dedication. I mean, you're talking about in their girls tennis program alone, they have about 160 kids. And the middle school has about another 100. So the pipeline is good. And they just have a sense of belief and buy-in. And that's when a program has that type of buy-in, that's what I love. Take another example, Carver High School, over in the heart of Atlanta. Carver is in one of our demographically challenged or socioeconomic challenged areas. But Coach Darren Miles does a tremendous job building boys to men over there. And they lost this year in the state championship game to Cedar Grove. But the track that they took and the amount of work and dedication that those kids showed all year, it's mind-boggling. And when you see success stories like that, to me, that's what it's all about. For me, it's worth me putting those 12 and 13 and 14-hour days in. It's worth me sitting in all those meetings and going through things and fighting for more money in my budget and things of that nature. When you can see the fruits of that type of labor from one of your teams, it just makes me feel great.
Love to see. I love to see. I love to hear that. That's your schools. They turning boys to men, having the pipeline, making sure things gonna be all right.
No doubt.
Even though we might not have all the resources like other schools, we're gonna make it work.
Yes.
We're gonna make it.
Yes.
So yes,
now, that's what it's all about.
So now say a job opening came up and people are applying. What do you look for in an individual during the hiring process?
Well, of course, and it's funny that you say that because I lost one of my assistant directors, because I have 2 assistant directors. I lost one to a job. She took a job as a director of football development for the USA Football. So, I had to go through the process of hiring another assistant director. First, I'm going to look at somebody, the basic knowledge and content of athletics. And I'm not necessarily talking about X's and O's, but I'm talking about, is there any experience in NCAA clearinghouse? Do they know the basic rules and regulations as it relates to Georgia High School Association, which is basically our governing body? That's who governs all of athletics in high school here in the state of Georgia. And then I look at the drive and the determination. I look at their track and what they've been through and how they've matriculated. If it's somebody that just jumped into athletics a year ago, they're not going to have the same zest for somebody that has work their way up the ladder to really earn an opportunity and a shot. But I love someone who's hungry. And I'm gonna tell you what I really love. When a person can tell me in an interview, let's say when I tell them, where do you aspire to be in 3 years? And they tell me, I want to have your job. Those are the type of people you want to hire. Period, point blank, because those people will go all out for you. All out 100% for you. So those are the type of things that I look for when I'm interviewing and when I'm looking for sharp coaches, sharp athletic administrators, the whole 9 yards.
So when they say, I want your job, you be like, all right, I can see working under you.
Absolutely. Because people like that are gonna grind, they're gonna be in your hip pocket, they're gonna listen to everything that you tell them to do, and they're gonna be like a sponge. They're gonna absorb it all, and hopefully it'll pay off for them.
Okay. That's crazy. Just saying that, but I don't know. It's like people say that to you, I just think about it like, man, I don't know. I don't know how that comes off sometimes though.
It depends on how it comes out. Now, if a person come in the door and say, I want your job, I want to take over for you, I want you to be fired, that's a different thing. Right. But if it's a person that say, I aspire to one day, hopefully align myself to be the director of athletics for Atlanta Public Schools. Case in point, I have one of my assistants now, that's his end goal. He wants to be a director of athletics. And, you know, quite frankly, with me having about 16 months left before I can retire, those are the type of people I want around me, because he is eager to learn. He shows up at work early. He's one of the last ones there. He asks questions if he doesn't know. And I tell him there's no such thing as a dumb question. Ask away. And he does just that, whether it's a text message, whether it's an email, whether he comes over to my office, whether it's a phone call, he's not hesitant and afraid to ask questions. And those are the type of people you want around you, because you know if a person is like that and their willingness to learn and adapt and take all this information in as a sponge, those are the type of people you want to be around. I was that way for my predecessor. When I was assistant director, I asked him, could I come to every meeting he went to? He introduced me to all the key players, and I just kind of was a tag along initially. I was a tag along person, and that ended up, you know, being a person that people could know and identify APS athletics with, which is why between that and the grace of God, I was able to get the position 9 years ago.
Just seemed like yesterday you got it. Now,
absolutely.
That's almost a decade.
Yes.
Time sure does fly by.
It does.
All right. So now, being in athletics for 44 years of your life, what are the best games you watched or been a part of?
Oof. That's a hard one. I tell you one game that was magical for me, and it probably wasn't for you, but the national championship game, Tua Tagovailoa's freshman year, and how he came into the game, second half, and he just took control. To see a young man play with that type of poise, that was mind-boggling for me. I loved to see that. Also, Florida's championship run in 1996 was great. The year before, they just got splashed by Nebraska in the national championship game. And for them to come back together and show the type of resilience that they did and were able to, you know, rally the troops. And Spurrier, he did rally the troops and pull off a national championship victory. Though that was great. From an NFL standpoint, it's been so many, I just almost forget. And I'm not even a Falcons fan. Let me go on record by saying I'm a San Francisco 49er fan. All 5 Super Bowls, yes, I'm a 49er fan. But I think probably one of the most heartbreaking games I've seen was the Falcons being up 28-3 to New England. The epic debacle. That was, and I'm not even a Falcons fan, but in the Super Bowl party I attended, everybody in the room were Falcons fans. I honestly felt sorry for them. I really did, because I could see how that hurt. That did something to me. And like I said, I'm not a Falcons fan, but that was an epic collapse of epic proportions. And I can remember going to work for days and days and days, and the individuals, when I went to work, they talked about it like it was happened yesterday. So I've been a part of a lot of great wins. See, on the high school level, probably one of the best playoff games that I've been to. Stevenson played Valdosta when Craig Lumpkin, you remember Craig Lumpkin?
That name sounds so familiar. I think my dad talks about him all the time.
I bet he went to Georgia, played running back.
Oh,
he was a running back for Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
And they were up 28-0 at the half. They lost 31-28 to Valdosta. It was heart-wrenching. Other than that, really didn't have a lot of heartbreaking games in college. You know, it was what it was. It was expected. It was a hard-fought loss. It was a good win. Nothing really stood out for me, but I've seen a lot just as a coach and as a observer of sports.
Okay, so now you're AD and you were a coach. Would you hire your younger self to a school?
Absolutely. And not to brag on myself, but the relationships that I've been blessed to form over the years that I've, been an athletic director. I'm the former president of Georgia Athletic Directors Association. I was also blessed and fortunate to be inducted into the Georgia Athletic Directors Association Hall of Fame back in 2019. I've served on the executive committee for GHSA for the last 11 years. I've also been on the GHSA Board of Trustees now for the last 8 years. I've served on national committees with the NIAAA, as well as, I've done a little bit of everything in terms of from a local, state, and national realm. So I think I could bring, if nothing else, a wealth of knowledge and experience to anybody's program or organization, which is why I guess I'm kind of blessed because, as I move closer and closer to retirement, I've received about 6 post-retirement job offers. So at some point, I'm going to have to make up my mind as to what I want to do, but, something that's going to free me up and watch my 12-year-old grow up and go through high school. And hopefully, if it's God's will, get through college. I want to have something where I can be a little bit, transient and move around and be able to enjoy her high school career as well as, her collegiate career, whatever she decides to do, whether it's a student athlete, whatever the case may be. I just want to be able to enjoy my family to the fullest.
Okay. Family man. So now, what are your top most famous people where you walked up to them and you were kind of starstruck that they're in the same room as you?
Let's see. It's been Jerry Rice. I was very starstruck because I'm a 49er fan. I was very starstruck when I met him, and I had an opportunity to meet him, shake his hand, and take a picture with him. So I was very starstruck. I don't count people like Cam Newton because I see Cam pretty much all the time. His dad and I are very good friends. So, for the average young guy, they may be starstruck, but I pick up the phone and call Cam. So that's not really one. That's one that I see him so frequently. Let me see who else. I had an opportunity to meet Jesse Jackson many years ago. So I was blessed, very blessed and honored to do that and to see him. Trying to think. That's a good question. I've been blessed to meet a lot of athletes. I met Emmitt Smith. I met Deion Sanders. I've met quite a few athletes or former athletes. But I think Jerry Rice kind of stuck out in my mind because he was so pleasant and so nice. When you're a polarizing figure, people come up to you all the time trying to take pictures, and which I did do, but he was so welcoming in welcoming me and saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Whatever the case may be, tell me about yourself. I felt right at home. So that to me, that meant a lot to me as a person, that he took the time out of his schedule to just listen to me and to hear what I had to say and to get to know me. So that's probably the most polarizing figure that I've met.
Okay. Jerry Rice. I never heard that one.
Yes.
Never heard Jerry. I never heard. So is that picture hung up in the man cave?
No, it's at work. But when I retire, it will be in the man cave.
Oh, it's gonna be there with the 49.
You know it.
Cold and red.
Yes.
Okay, so now, what are some athletes at your schools that you look at and say, man, I had that athlete here at one of my schools, and I'm very appreciative for what they did for their school and the community?
Well, we've been blessed. We had a good football season, real good football season, solid football season. And I tell you, one young man who I love so much, I just love his grit and determination. You would never know that he was as good of an athlete as he is. His name is Keyshawn Brown. He's a returning running back at South Atlanta High School. He was All-State last year. Was honorable mention All-State as a sophomore. Led the state in rushing, 2,757 yards, 3,100 all-purpose yards. He has over 21 Division I offers now. He's set up to go on an official visit for Purdue this weekend. Great kid, a yes sir, no sir kid. When I'm over there meeting with the athletic director and the head football coach, the colleges are coming in there just flooding to see him. Another kid that's very impressive to me from an academic standpoint is Randolph Smith. He's a tight end up at North Atlanta, 6'2.5", 6'3", about 250 pounds. What I love about him, he's a 4.0, 29 ACT kid. So he gets it. He gets it both in the classroom and he gets it on the field. Those are the type of kids that you just love to talk about and you love to think about. Carver has a couple of kids, DeAndre Buchanan and Bryce Bowens. Bryce Bowens is a transfer quarterback that came to us from Grayson last year. Great kid, has good size, has a lot of Division I offers. DeAndre Buchanan, we call him Slash because he does a little bit of everything. He returns kickoffs, he returns punts, he plays in the secondary. He's also a slot guy, another guy that will be highly touted in terms of being recruited. And probably I would say last but not least, Carson Pritchett. And I know you know the name, you've probably heard the name Pritchett. Stanley Pritchett is the head football coach at Douglas High School, played in the NFL for many, many years. But it's his son and over at Douglas. So we're looking to see some great things from Carson this year, man. I'm really, really excited about APS football and the fact that we're in these newly formed regions. And I just like to see us get out and compete, and our coaches do a good job of preparing our kids and getting them ready to compete. To me, that's what it's all about.
Competition, competing. You name some highly touted names right in there.
Yes, sir.
Highly touted, coming from your school system.
Yes, sir. And that's the thing I can hang my hat on. I can brag about them and say, yeah, these are mine. These are ours. And that's the good thing about it. It's funny that you mentioned that. I'm standing. Was a rivals camp going on at one of my stadiums on Saturday, and my phone rings because I just rolled by just to make sure everything was going well. The maintenance crew was out there and things of that nature. And I ride by, Jamal Lewis is calling me. He's out on the field, say, man, come holler at me. I want to do whatever I can for any of your schools. That's just the type of person that Jamal is. You're talking about a great human being, a Frederick Douglass graduate, a Tennessee great, and a Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl champion, played many years in the NFL. And buddy, let me tell you something. He looked like he could still tote the rock to this day. I mean, he's chiseled, but good guy, great young man. You know, those are type individuals that I just like, you know, to that come and give back to the schools. And I'm not, when I say give back, I don't mean from a financial standpoint. Your presence alone, for him to come out and be able to talk to kids and children and say, hey, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be. To me, that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Right. Coming back, giving back to the community. Any way you can. Okay, so now, for all the people talking to you, all the things that you heard, what quote that you heard and it still sticks with you now to this day?
That's a good one. I you know what? I'm not a huge quote person, so it's I'm not a huge quote person, even though there have been some quotes that have stuck with me, but I'm not a huge quote, so I'm gonna have to ponder on that one. But I've heard a lot of great ones, so I'm gonna have to ponder over that one.
You gotta think about that one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now, why do you love your job?
Why do I love my job? One, I'm able to do something that I absolutely love to do. First of all, I'm around athletics 24/7. That's number one. Secondly, I love to be a change agent and help change for the better anything dealing with kids and coaches. Because to me, you know, athletics, believe it or not, athletics shapes and molds the culture of any building. Any building. If 9 times out of 10, if there's a good athletic program in that building, the kids are going to behave. They're going to do what they're supposed to do because they want to be a part of it. They want to come to the game. They want to come to the pep rallies. They want to be involved in it. And to me, athletics help shape and mold that culture of that building. So I'm able to support my family doing something that I absolutely love to do. There's not a day that I get up and say, oh Lord, I got to go to work today. I love my job and I love doing what I'm doing. I work for a dynamic superintendent, Dr. Lisa Herring. She's been nothing but supportive of me and everything that we've tried to roll out from an athletic standpoint. And for me, it's a win-win situation. It's going to be hard for me to walk away when my 30 years is up, but I do know it's time for me to step to the side and let those people step on my shoulders and keep building this bridge. Those people that have started, that paved the way for me, they step to the side and let me step on their shoulders. So I must do the same for the younger generations as well.
Okay. So now, final question. So now you've been in the hot seat. Who do you want to see next to be in the hot seat?
As an AD?
Anybody.
Oh, you talking about in the hot seat here?
Yeah.
Dr. Stephen Kraft. He's the director of athletics for Fulton County Schools. Put him in the hot seat, but the only thing is, y'all gonna get along so well because he's a doggone Bulldog fan.
What's wrong with that?
I wish I had 4 hands so I give you 4 thumbs down.
Ain't nothing wrong with being a Bulldog fan.
There's everything wrong with being it. But Stephen Kraft is a great friend of mine. Good dude. We about 6 years ago, we got together at the GADA conference and we formed this group called the Metro Mafia. We call ourselves the Metro Mafia, and it consists of all of the metropolitan at the time district athletic directors. Kurt Miller's in it, Dr. Stephen Kraft's in it, Nathan Turner, the AD for Forsyth County, was in it. At the time, John Ware, who's the AD at Gwinnett, was in it. You know, Kevin May, the AD at Clayton County. We call ourselves the Metro Mafia. So I would love to see my Mafia brother, Dr. Stephen Kraft, get on the Budweiser hot seat next.
I got you. So now, interview's over. Any last words you would like to say to the public?
Yeah, to all these student athletes, if you're listening, I've always said, these are the three things that I always live by as a coach. Keep God first in your life, obey your parents, and surround yourself with positive people. Continue to do that, because if you do that, you will be blessed beyond belief. And I just love doing what I'm doing. I love the fact that I'm able to embrace kids and have such a good group of individuals that I work with and work around, and get paid pretty good money to do that, I must say. but it's a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. Education. People are always talking about how educators aren't paid what they're worth and things of that nature. And you may be right, but when you find your niche, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. And I'm blessed and fortunate that I think that I found my niche.
Glad you found it. You're doing a hell of a job.
Thank you so much, man. This has been great.
Well, I'm your host, Jonathan Hooker, from the Sports Den Podcast. Signing off with Mr. Jewell, Director AD of APS, Loud and Proud. So,
yes, sir.
See you guys next time.